Okay, let me know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? The should be going. Hopefully. Okay, good. I'm getting a yes from Rosa. Is that a yes from everybody? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Okay. I don't know why you couldn't hear the music. Everything seems to be working just fine. Just fine. Okay, good. Fantastic. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Wednesday morning or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are from. I see Argentina out there. I, of course, am broadcasting live from the studios here in Spokane, Washington, USA. Okay, I'm getting the all clear. Okay, good. Hello, Qatar. Oh, I know. I see a lot of you already know. Hello, Belarus, Europe. Hello, everybody. Uh, yeah, it's my last class. This will be my last live class. Hello, Sri Lanka and Malaysia and Brazil, uh, Canada, Algeria, the world. Also from Washington. Yeah, the best place in the world, right? Beautiful Pacific Northwest here in the USA. Hello, Turkey. Oh, it isn't perfect. Sound isn't perfect, but good enough. Why is this the last one? Well, they're rethinking the way they're going to do the live classes. The two classes in Canada, I believe, are going to continue. So Sean and Kareem will still have their classes. And I don't know what's going to happen in the future with these classes. But nothing, there'll be nothing from the USA anymore. Oh, sorry. Another person from Belarus, too. I know. Iraq? Do I have a new job? No, not yet, but I will have one very soon, starting next month. Okay, good. It sounds like sound is going well. Hello, Saudi Arabia, Algeria. So, this will be my last class, and then tomorrow will be Josh's last class. I'm going to miss all of you too. I don't think it will hit me until next Wednesday morning when I'm not doing this. I think that's when it's gonna hit me. Hello, Myanmar. Yeah, Maxime, that's a good question. I don't know what about you guys. I know it's gonna be sad. I won't see you anymore either. Um, if you look up my name, and I typed my full name there. If you look up my name on Facebook, and if you see a blue face, face I applied a filter to, that's my Facebook page, and you can go ahead and friend me on my Facebook page. I can reply to your questions some of the times, just as long as it's not too much. Remember, I am doing other things. I will be working another job. I won't be available for questions all the time, but some of the time, of course. Yeah, it's not a joke. Last class. So maybe we should get to it. My Facebook page, it's my name, it's my full name, Neal Hallgarth. That's how you spell it. I put it in the chat room. And it's the one with the blue face, the one where I applied a filter to it. Oh, do some live videos on Facebook? Yeah, I suppose I could do that. Suppose I could do some Facebook Live. Okay, let's get started without further ado. Okay, Again, you might have some questions now, and as always, I've supplied this information. If you have any questions about live classes, you can contact Zach at smartenglish.com. Is there a way you can watch me in another place? Maybe, and I'll let you know. Actually, if you have time to tune into Josh's tomorrow, maybe we can think about making my own channel. I don't know. I don't know much about doing this myself. I will certainly look into it. Hi, Emily from Malawi. Oh, you guys want some shout outs? Hi, Emily from Malawi. And of course, all the new people and all the students that have been joining all along. Let's see. Oh, we still have the YouTube channel, of course. You know about that. And of course, the Facebook. Learn English on Facebook with Smrt. Okay. Let's go. Okay. I had a request to do adjective clauses. So let's look at adjective clauses. I will share the link with you. There's a link to the class notes. The last class notes. Oh, Dia, Kareem, your first time here, and it happens to be my last class. Well, like I said, Sean will still have his class, I believe, on Fridays, and Kareem has his class later on Wednesdays. There will still be live classes. It's just that my class and Josh's class will not continue. An adverb clause. Adverbials, no, we're doing adjective clauses today. Adverb clauses are a little different. Should be able to do this. Okay. Okay. An adjective clause is a part of a sentence which gives us more information about a noun or pronoun. I can't reach up and cross out pronoun. I'll be interested to see what this lesson says about pronoun. For me, an adjective clause gives more information about a noun. It will always follow the noun that it describes. So, for example, let's look at a couple of examples of adjective clauses. I love the shoes that you're wearing. Of course, what's the noun in that sentence? If we look at the first part of the sentence, I love the shoes, there's only one noun there. The shoes. The shoes. That you're wearing. The word that begins the adjective clause, and there are certain words that will begin an adjective clause. Here we have the word that you're wearing. We're using that because shoes is a thing. It's not a person, it's not a place, it's not a time. It is a thing. So we're going to use that. I love the shoes that you are wearing. The adjective clause itself will have sometimes another noun in it. Here we have you. So we do have another noun. You are wearing, that you're wearing. That's what makes it a clause. Remember, a clause is a part of a sentence with a noun and a verb. It does not need to be a complete sentence. It is just part of the sentence with its own noun and verb. And here we have you are wearing. So we have a continuous verb and you, that you're wearing. That whole thing is the adjective clause, that you're wearing, and it's describing shoes. What shoes are we talking about? The shoes that you're wearing. So it gives us more information about that noun. And yes, Leo, you're right. In the next sentence, computer is the noun, the computer. Here's our adjective clause word, which. That will begin our adjective clause. which I bought isn't very good. Okay, in this one, the full sentence, computer is the subject, and is or isn't is not is the verb. The adjective clause here is coming between the noun and the verb, which I bought, and it's describing computer. Which computer? The computer which I bought. Not the computer in the classroom, not the computer at the store, the computer which I bought. That specific computer isn't very good. And then we continue and finish the sentence. Okay, let's look at the next one. And one way to test sometimes adjective clauses, if I took out the part which I bought, if I deleted this part and just said the computer isn't very good, you'll notice that that's a full sentence. Adjective clauses we put in only to describe a noun. There should still be a full sentence outside of the adjective clause. A defining adjective clause tells us exactly which person or thing we are talking about. It defines or identifies the noun or pronoun. Again, I want to see what the lesson says about pronouns. I have never described a pronoun with an adjective clause. Maybe they'll show us an example where that's possible. I don't think it is possible to describe a pronoun with an adjective clause. We don't use commas with this kind of adjective clause. A defining adjective clause will never have commas. So if you're wondering about comma use, if you have a defining adjective clause, don't use commas. This means that the adjective clause is very, very important. The only way we can know the noun, what specific noun you're talking about, is to make it a defining adjective clause. No commas. I love people who like to have a good time. Okay, people are obviously people. It's a person. It's not a thing, not a place, not a time. So we need the word who. I love people who like to have a good time. What kind of people? People who like to have a good time. How about people who don't like to have a good time? Nope. This adjective clause is making it clear there's only one type of people that I love, and that's the people who like to have a good time. And no comma, so it's defining. We need that to know what type of people. Yes, Dr. Grigorov, that's a good question. Adjective clauses are also known as relative clauses. So they're the same thing. When we say adjective clause, we mean relative clause, or vice versa. You say relative clause, you mean adjective clause. Can you use an adjective clause with an article? Adjective clauses will always follow a noun. That noun might have an article, and there can be an article in the adjective clause, but an adjective clause or relative clause will never follow just an article. Still need a noun. I will eat anything that contains cheese. So anything means anything. Anything. However, they limit that a little bit with the adjective clause. Anything that contains cheese. So not quite anything. Anything that contains cheese. These are not complex that's a good question. Are they complex sentences? Yes, because you have an independent and a dependent clause. Your relative clause is the dependent clause, and anything outside that is the independent clause. So that's a good question. These are complex sentences. I almost said no, but they are indeed complex sentences. Right. Your adjective clause will always follow a noun. Will always follow a noun. I believe you're asking about Sean. I believe Sean will be back Friday, possibly. Be back soon. Okay, I was going to say the same way, but first, let me construct one. Let me make one real quick. Okay. I teach students who are studying online. Okay. So here's my noun, students. That's my noun. But I want to make it clear it's not all students, and it's not students in a classroom. I am limiting students. I'm going to make it more specific what kind of students. So I use an adjective clause. Who are studying online. This entire adjective clause is describing the word students. We can think of this as another way of writing something like this. If I can get my computer to cooperate. I could take that word online and use it as an adjective and say something like this. I teach online students. So it is functioning like an adjective. Adjective clauses function like an adjective, but they come after and they will contain a noun and a verb. Now this one's a little different that I wrote. Sometimes the relative clause word or the adjective clause word will be the noun in the clause, and then you can follow directly with a verb. Who are studying. In this one, I don't have a separate noun. This word, who, is going to be the noun in my clause. Same here, who like. That contains. So the adjective clause word is acting as the noun in that adjective clause. Up here, we saw something different. That you are wearing. You is actually the noun in the adjective clause, which I bought. I is the noun in that relative clause. So sometimes the adjective clause word is the noun in the clause, and sometimes we have another noun, an additional noun in the clause. So look for that. That could be something that's confusing. Always look for that adjective clause word. And what are the adjective clause words? Here's the great thing about adjective clauses or relative clauses is that they're always introduced by a relative pronoun, and there's only these. This is it, these 7. Who, whom, whose, that, which, when, and where. Those are the 7 relative pronouns that can begin an adjective clause, just those 7. So your adjective clause will start with one of those 7. Julian, you're asking, can we have more than one adjective in a sentence? Of course, more than one adjective. How about more than one adjective clause? Yes, you can have more than one adjective clause in a sentence. Each noun in a sentence can have an adjective clause. So it depends on how many nouns and how many nouns you need to describe further with adjective clauses. That determines how many adjective clauses you can have. But potentially, each noun in a sentence can have its own adjective clause. Abdul, you write the sentence, I want to buy a toy which is looking beautiful for my kids. Yes, which is looking beautiful will be the adjective clause describing toy. No, Rosa, in this structure, in this grammatical structure, it's always the noun first and the adjective clause directly following the noun. So it'll be noun, adjective clause all the time. The noun will not come after. The noun cannot come after. So it's always noun, adjective clause. If I go back to the class notes, which is for things, When, of course, is for time. Where, as you can guess, is for place. Who is for person. Then we have this whom. Person, whom will always have a noun after. And I'll show you an example of that later. Whose is a thing, and it's possessive, something that belongs to somebody. And that is also for thing, and it will always be defining. That will never have commas. The rest of these can have commas. That will never have commas. So let's look at that who, whom. I talked to the musician who played last night. Who played last night is obviously my adjective clause. In this adjective clause, I didn't need another noun. The musician is the one who played. The musician does this verb, who played last night. I talked to the musician who played last night. Let's look at this one. I talked to the musician whom I saw last night. This is the difference between who and whom. This has a noun in it, I. I is obviously different than musician. I talked to the musician whom I saw last night. I do this action. I saw the musician. The musician did not see themselves. So that's the difference between who and whom. Who you use when your noun in your sentence, your musician, does this action. The musician played. I didn't play. I just watched the musician. But this one, in this one, I saw. I did this action. The musician did not do this action. The musician did not do the saying. So that's when you use whom. When you have a noun and a verb in the adjective clause, and the noun you're describing does not do this action. Does that make sense? That's a little difficult. Which is only for things. Yeah. Yes, that's right. The musician was seen by me. That's correct, Fabio. That's correct. For people who are verifying, is this my last time? It is my last time. How do you spell sheriff? 2 F's. I saw the sheriff whom Leo shot. There's a sentence for Leo who loves those sheriff sentences. I saw the sheriff whom Leo shot. The sheriff did not shoot themselves. Obviously, Leo did this action. But this adjective describes which sheriff exactly. So out of all of the sheriffs of the world, which one did I see? I saw the one whom Leo shot. Yes, we can think of who as being a subject. It'll be the subject of your adjective clause, and whom as object. Whom will be the object. So we can think, in regular grammar, we can think of the construction like this. I saw whom last night? It's whom is actually an object, I don't really want to get into that. One thing to notice, if you want to know the difference between who and whom, look at the verb in your adjective clause. Who is doing that verb? If it's your noun that you're describing, then use who. If it's somebody else, if there's another noun you can put in there and they're doing that action, not the noun we're describing, then we use whom. Who and whom. Yeah, it's, I'm pretty bummed it's my last class too, but there will be more classes in the future, and I think we covered a lot of information in the time here. Okay, here we go. The relative pronouns who, which, and that are used as subjects of verbs in adjectives clauses. So let's take a look at this. In all of these adjective clauses, we won't have another noun in the adjective clause. It'll be the relative pronoun and a verb. The man that is playing the piano is my friend. So we have relative pronoun and verb. That is playing. The store which sells that kind of furniture is IKEA. Which sells. Which sells. The teacher who teaches that class is Mark. Who teaches. I love the restaurant that is beside the school. That is. So with that, which, and who, you should not have another noun in there. You should not have another noun in there. They are the subject of the adjective clause. They are the subject of the relative clause. The relative clause will be the noun. The relative pronoun will be the noun in your adjective clause. If that makes any sense, that's hard to say. The relative pronoun will be the noun in the adjective clause. Whew. Julian, your question, who took my iPod? Who will take my iPad is correct, not which. Can we use that with people? Rosa, informally we can use the word that with people, but that's more of an informal type of English. It's more conversational, actually. In speaking, you might hear people use that in their adjective clause to describe people. It's not actually correct. It's not formally correct, though. It is more conversational. That's right, JB. If the noun functions as the subject of the adjective clause, use who. If it functions as the object of the adjective clause, use whom. Whom is only formal English. That's right, Vency. Whom is only formal English, very formal English. As part of speech, relative pronouns for these words alone. They're relative pronouns. Bye, Bharat. I'll miss you too. I'll hopefully still be able to talk to you, maybe on Facebook in the future. That and which can sometimes be interchangeable, Rosa. One thing to remember, if you use that, no commas. If you use which, sometimes no commas, sometimes commas. Which can actually take commas. That can never take commas. So most of the time they are interchangeable, but if you're using commas, you cannot use that. Oh yeah, you need maybe the class notes one more time. Can I grab the class notes one more time? I can. Let me grab those. The link. I'll share that for those of you just joining in. If you are just joining us, like Melinda here, you can grab the class notes there. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're not going to see me with a baby face, Leo. You're not going to see me with a baby face anymore. I ended up on my long face here. Okay. Let's continue. We're talking about adjective clauses. If we get to commas, yeah, hopefully we'll get to commas. No, I'm continuing. The relative pronouns. Oh, I think you're asking why. Why am I stopping these classes? No more classes from the USA. We're closing the studio, and Josh and I are going on to other jobs. Um, but again, friend me on Facebook. Friend me on Facebook, and I'll make sure to post as much as I can. Okay, the relative pronouns who, whom, which, or that are commonly used as objects in adjective clauses. Do you know the guy that I'm talking about? Do you know the guy that I'm talking about? And notice here we have an adjective clause in a question. You can include them in question sentences. So here's our noun, guy, and that is our relative pronoun. And Rosa, you asked, can we use it for people? Here we have an example of that being used to describe a person, guy. That I'm talking about. And here we have another noun, I. So that is functioning, in this sentence, functioning as the object of the adjective clause, just of the adjective clause. So that and which are kind of interchangeable. They can be subject or they can be object. Rosa, that's correct. Here's the person whom I was talking about. That is the correct use of whom. That's the correct use of whom. Con, you're asking have to. Have to is a modal of obligation, meaning you have to do something. To have is possessive, like I have a car. To see is a completely different verb. I will have to see in the future. Have to see means you just have to wait and see what the future has in store. John, which is correct. The man who I am talking to. So the first one is correct, John. The man whom I am talking. No, it'd be the man who. Oh, actually, the man whom I am talking to. I am talking to the man. Yeah, the man whom I am talking to. That's right. It's the second one. It's the second one. Sorry. Can we miss relatives? Sometimes, Vency, we can delete the relative pronoun that. That's the only one we can delete, if that's what you're asking. Can we miss the relative pronouns? Can we delete the relative pronouns? The only one we can delete is the word that. So in this sentence, do you know the guy that I'm talking about? We can actually also say this as, do you know the guy I'm talking about? That is the only relative pronoun you can take out, and it will still make sense. The country which you visited last year is Thailand, isn't it? Actually, I just lied. You can take out which here because it's a defining relative clause, and it's a thing. So here we could actually delete which. If you have commas, you would not be able to delete which. The country which you visited last year is Thailand, isn't it? The beast that you saw was Bigfoot, right? I really didn't like the person whom we met last night. Okay. Kritaya, that's a great question. Country is a place. How come we can't say where? The country where you visited. Uh, so this, let's look at that. I'm going to go to the class now. That's a great question. When we use where and when, it can be a little tricky. Okay, let's look at this sentence. The country where we met is Thailand. So here I can use where. Why can I use where here and I can't in this sentence? Come on. Whoa. Whoa, what's my computer doing? My computer is lagging. Crazy. Okay. If it actually has something to do, like a country you can visit. Many people visit countries as tourists, obviously. If it's related to the country itself, something true about the country, like people can visit there. The country which imposed a new law, the country which changed its government, the country which just established a new military. If it's related to something about that country, it's factual about a country. A country you can visit, many people. A country you can live in. You're going to use which. If it's unrelated, this one's unrelated. The country where we met is Thailand. This one, unrelated. That country, it's coincidence that we met there. It's coincidence that we met there. It's not a purpose or a function of that country. It's not really factual about that country. In fact, it's factual about us. It's where we met, so it's unrelated. When it's unrelated, you can use where. Where. So when it's more, it's kind of, and I know it's kind of strange, if it's more personal to the subject of the adjective clause, if it pertains to what's ever in the adjective clause, you can use where. If it's more about the noun it's describing, use which. Which. I know that one's strange. That's a good question, and I'm sorry for the strange answer, but that's kind of true. Yes, the country which has a president with a special hairstyle is my country, the good old USA. So, Leo, that's true. A country can have a president. It's about that country. Maybe an easy example of this is country where I live is the USA. This is personal to me. It's where I live. Of course, many people live in the USA. We have many citizens, but I'm using this adjective clause to kind of talk about myself. This adjective clause is more about the I, the subject of the adjective clause, than it is about the noun it is describing. That's right, Rosa. It depends on context. It depends on context. In spoken English, no relative pronoun is common when introducing objects and adjective clauses. The coffee you bought was absolutely delicious. The neighbor I like called me yesterday. So, when speaking, we often leave out the relative pronouns. When speaking, we often leave out the relative pronouns. In fact, when speaking, it's a little unusual to use adjective clauses. It comes up sometimes, kind of like this, but it's almost like an afterthought. We would kind of say this maybe: the coffee you bought was absolutely delicious. Usually when you're talking to somebody, they will know the context and they'll realize you're talking about the coffee that you bought. So usually the person will just say, the coffee was absolutely delicious. We often don't use relative pronouns when speaking. They're more for writing. Of course, in formal speeches, when you prepare a speech and then say the speech, it's a lot more common to use relative clauses or adjective clauses. Yes, in any type of essay, adjective clauses are a formal type of writing, and they're allowed. Yeah, you can write them in any type of essay. You should feel free to always use an adjective clause to further define any noun in your writing. Noreen, you're asking, should my sentence be broken with commas? It should. The country where I live is the USA. So talking about commas, when you use commas for adjective clauses, it should go before and after. It should go before and after. The commas should bookend the adjective clause. Country where I live is the USA. This one should get commas because it's not really defining, right? It's not a defining of the USA that I live there. If I moved to another country, would that country become the USA? Probably not. In fact, it would not. If I moved down to Mexico, would it suddenly become the USA? No. Where I live is not really a defining factor of the USA as a country. I should use commas in there. It is non-defining. It is non-defining. Let's look at something. Let's look at that. I'll write some sentences. Okay. Let me give you a scenario. Let me give you an example. My neighbor has two cats. One cat is black and one cat is brown. So my neighbor has two cats. One cat is black and one cat is brown. Not who for, should I use who for a cat? I'll use which. Okay, so I would ask you, here's my scenario. My neighbor has two cats. One cat is black and one cat is brown. My neighbor's cat, which is black, caught a bird yesterday. Is this, which is black, is this a defining characteristic for this cat? Do I need this information? Do I need this information? What I'm asking is, should I use commas or shouldn't, or I should not use commas? Should I use commas or shouldn't I use commas? What do you think? Commas or no commas? This is available stock. John, that works. Or is the stock which is available, you're starting a question, the stock which is available. Yeah, you can say that. The available stock or the stock which is available. John, both of those are correct and they mean the same thing. It's nice to meet you too, Halima. This is my last class. Nice to meet you. For those students just joining. That's right. I see a lot of people say no commas. That's correct. No commas. Why? Well, because there are two cats. If I want you to know exactly which cat I'm talking about, I need this information. It defines that cat. It was not the brown cat. It distinguishes this. It was not the brown cat. It was the black cat. So I need this. So no commas. This is defining. This is defining. It separates the black cat from the brown cat. The brown cat did not catch a bird yesterday. It was the black cat that caught a bird yesterday. So that's kind of the difference. When we have a defining adjective clause or defining relative clause, it helps us know more about that noun. Let me give you another example. That's right, Leo. It depends on how many cats he has. That's why I told you he has two cats. It does depend. What if I said something like this? My neighbor has one cat. It is black. Let me give you that scenario. Okay, different scenario. My neighbor has one cat. It is black. My neighbor's cat, which is black, caught a bird yesterday. What do you think? Defining or non-defining? Commas or no commas? How about in this instance? How about in this situation? In this one, let's say different neighbor, neighbor on the other side. Yes, it's non-defining. Here, we need commas on both sides because there's only one cat. This becomes extra information. This becomes extra information. And let me show you one more example. How about where we don't have it? We don't know the scenario. We just see the sentence. And I'll bring these down so you can see them together. Okay, look at these two sentences. Same sentence. One of them, it's defining. One of them, it's non-defining. What are we really saying in these two sentences when we use one as defining and one as non-defining? The man who is holding a monkey is wearing a yellow hat. This one is defining. This one non-defining. The man who is holding a monkey is wearing a yellow hat. Both of these, let's say they're both correct. Which one do you think is probably the sentence you would see? Would you see it as a defining, no commas, or non-defining with commas? Which one do you think is more of a realistic? Which one is more of a usual sentence that we might see? First is defining, that's correct. Which do you think you would be more likely to write? If you wrote this sentence, I'll tell you this. One of these sentences makes more sense than the other. One of these sentences is very unusual. Yes, the first is defining, and this would be the usual sentence. This second one, if it's correct, if this person actually meant to use commas, is very unusual. Why? Well, we're saying holding a monkey is extra information. It's not really defining the man. It means we can locate this man. We can know the man I am talking about more by his yellow hat than by the monkey he is holding. In the real world, yellow hats are a lot more common than monkeys, especially people holding them. So this one is unusual. This one might be talking about a situation where you enter a room and there are many men holding monkeys, but to know the man I'm talking about, you have to find the yellow hat. The first sentence makes more sense because it's defining. We can easily identify the man I'm talking about because he is, of course, holding a monkey. It should make him very easy to identify. There, you don't see a lot of people walking around holding a monkey. Maybe at the zoo. So, yes, that's right. That's exactly right, Leo. The second one indicates there are a lot of people walking around the streets holding monkeys. This is only extra information, and it's not helping us identify the man. Julian, I'm not breaking up with you, buddy. I'm not breaking up with you. This is not a breakup. Okay. How close are we to the end of this? Okay, let me get to the end of this. Who and whom are used for people, not things. I think you know that by now. Whom is much more formal than who. That's not true. Whom is formal, but look at your adjective clause. If you have another noun, and that noun is doing this verb, use whom. Can we use who in place? We can. Teachers are people whom I really respect. Teachers are people who I really respect. There might be instances in print where you see this, like in a magazine. They might not use whom, they might use the less formal who. Is it correct? It's kind of becoming correct. It's becoming acceptable just to use who for every case. That can be used for both people and things, which is only used for things. That can be used for both people and things, which is only used for things. The library that we visit is quite beautiful. Library is a thing. The library which we visit is quite beautiful, which is a thing. The officer that spoke to us was quite rude. Officer is a person. Informally, we can use that to describe people. Okay, that brings me to the end of the first slide. There's more about adjective clauses. Of course, with our limited time, we can't get to all of it. So I'm going to share the class notes with you one more time. I should go to the green screen to say goodbye. This has been an amazing, has it been longer than a year? I think it has. Is that right? It's been at least an amazing year, if not more, teaching you online. We covered a lot, mostly vocabulary, I feel, but that's what I like discussing with you. I know, I wish this wasn't goodbye. It's not sad because I'm not dead, I'm not dying, and you guys are not dead either or dying. Your journey with English continues, and my journey as a teacher will continue. John, that's correct. Left in stock. Your sentence, there's a keyboard left in stock. That is the adjective clause. It has been almost a year. Yeah, almost a year. Yeah, I'm going to miss teaching these classes to you, the students, every Wednesday, my mornings, sometimes your afternoons and evenings. And I'm so glad you sacrificed some of your time in the afternoons and evenings, and sometimes the mornings, to join me here. Uh, you guys are so excellent. You're so good. You're so good at expressing yourselves, at least in the chat room. Uh, I wish all of you the best of luck. Keep studying. There will be more live classes. Go to those live classes. Um, I'm keeping the beard for now. Maybe I'll grow it out. Uh, yeah, I will miss seeing the familiar faces. One more time, I'll write my name in the chat room, my full name, and the correct spelling. Go ahead and friend me on Facebook. I will try to use Facebook more so I can see you guys, and I'll keep tabs on your adventures, and I'll post some stuff so you can keep tabs on mine. Am I sad? Right now I'm not. I think later I will be. I think especially next Wednesday morning, that's when it will hit me. When I actually feel the change, I think that's when it will hit me. Um, don't be sad. Don't be sad. Uh, Again, with social media, nothing really has to be a goodbye. Yeah, I can jump in the classes sometimes. I can jump in the class lobbies sometime and join you in the chat rooms. Oh man, I would love to travel the world. Yeah, we need to stay in touch in case I ever do some world travels. Maybe I can visit you all. Maybe you have a room where I can stay. Leo, I wanted to say one thing especially to Leo. Leo, it was actually I who shot the sheriff. Leo's been saying all along it was him. Leo, I'm letting you off the hook. It was I. I shot the sheriff. Clearly, I have the shirt. So it was me all along. Uh, this is the mystery. I solved the mystery. Leo, thank you for taking the fall for me, but it was actually me who shot the sheriff. Yeah, how's that for a surprise ending? That's the twist ending on all of this. Uh, yeah, I've had this T-shirt. The weird thing is I've had this T-shirt for a long, long time. This is very old. This is very, very old. Uh, so I wanted to wear it the last time because I know that made an impression on a lot of people. On a lot of people. Uh, it was so much fun joining you. And again, I really, really, really mean it when I say you guys are super, super smart and you're super driven and super motivated. You've taken your English into your own hands. You've taken your own education into your own hands. You do extra work. You do whatever it takes to improve yourself. And if you just keep doing that, you're going to be fine. You're going to be great. Uh, and you're going to continue to improve and you're going to succeed. So always, always be driven. Always try. Always do more. Always do extra like you have been doing. And I know you by your writing, and your writing in the chat room is excellent. It's easy to communicate with you. Yeah, for those of you who are in my class, maybe perhaps you'll be transferred to another class. There may be new classes opening up. Of course, Sean and Kareem's classes will be continuing. You'll be able to see them. Yes, yeah, maybe I should start making some travel plans. Uh, Again, I try to think positively. With social media, we never really have to say goodbye. We can continue to communicate, oftentimes through pictures and our posts, and I will I will make sure to post more to keep you apprised. There's a big word for you, to keep you apprised of my uh, adventures. I will. Thank you, Leo. Thank you for the advice. I know. I know. Well, I do have to say goodbye. The hour is up. Again, bye for now. Bye for these lessons. And I hope to say hello to you sometime on social media in the future. Uh, Always stay positive. Always think positively about the future. And of course, I will remember this time. I'll remember you all very, very, very fondly. And again, I hope to see you again soon on the Facebooks. Okay, I do have to say goodbye for now. Goodbye, everybody. It was excellent. It was fun. Life always changes, and sometimes things come to an end, and this is the end for now. And thank you for joining me for so many of these classes. Okay. All right, I do have to turn off now. Bye bye for this is the final bye bye. Bye bye everybody. Bye bye. Final bye bye. Bye bye.